Hello, welcome to the Mythology Manifest. For today's video, I will be talking about a minor goddess in Greek mythology who is often forgotten about. She is the goddess of messengers, but more commonly rainbows. Her name is Iris. I hope you enjoy it. So, Iris was the daughter of Thaumas, who was a very minor god of the sea, and a cloud nymph called Electra. This made her the granddaughter of the titan of the sea, Oceanus. She was the sister of the Harpies and her twin, who was known as Arc. Iris felt very strongly about family loyalty, and when the Argonauts Calais and Zetes were threatening to kill the Harpies for stopping Phineus from eating, she flew down from the sky to where her sisters were being chased by the Argonauts, and to protect them, she restrained Calais and Zetes, and told the Harpies to go and not to bother Phineus again. By doing this, she helped Jason find the Golden Fleece, allowed Phineus to eat again, and saved her sisters from being butchered. This family loyalty did not transfer, however, to those who betrayed or stood against her, which is not something you'd expect from Iris, as she seems very kind and forgiving. But when her twin sister, Arc, stood against the gods in the Titanomachy, Iris made her fade away and took up the role of goddess of the rainbow. When the Romans took over, she took the name Arcus in recognition of her sister. In some myths, Arc was actually a male. Iris was the personification of rainbows in ancient Greece, and most works of art depict her in either the form of a rainbow or as a beautiful maiden. She had wings which were often described as golden and usually carried a pitcher in one hand. Her name combined the Greek words for messenger and the rainbow to signify her dual role. Iris was considered a female counterpart to Hermes, who was the official messenger of the gods. Both of them were said to have wings or wear clothing with wings called talaria and carry a staff. Iris served as a messenger from Mount Olympus, and she would often use her pitcher to scoop up water from the ocean and carry it into the clouds to make rain. Or sometimes she would join the rain, and her ethereal glow or golden wings would refract from the droplets and make a rainbow in the sky. Many Greeks viewed Iris as an important link between the mortals and the realm of the gods, because it was believed that her rainbow linked the earth to the heavens. She also used her pitcher to serve nectar to the gods on Olympus, as she was also a staff member there. The major gods often requested her to send messages to other gods, mortals, and even to the underworld if Hermes was busy, as she travelled at the speed of light. Because of her speed, she was often described with the epithet swift-footed, but normally that epithet was reserved for Achilles. When people began getting confused between the roles of Hermes and Iris and couldn't differentiate between the two, the Greek poets tried to simplify it by saying Hermes served and was the messenger to Zeus and most of the major gods, and that Iris was a loyal servant and handmaiden to Hera only. In the 3rd century BC, a Greek polymath by the name of Callimachus compared Iris to a hunting hound of Hera, because she was always seated by the side of the Queen of the Gods with her ears pricked, ready to receive her calls and messages at any time. Her loyalty to the Queen of the Gods can be seen in the play Heracles by Euripides. Iris goes down to the earth and commands Lyssa, who is the goddess of anger, frenzy and rage, to make Heracles lose his mind in a fit of rage and make him murder his family. In the Aeneid, Virgil explicitly says that Iris is Hera's envoy. So the confusion between Hermes and Iris was resolved, and quickly Hermes became the more famous of the two, and Iris was forgotten about completely. I find this odd, as she was the main messenger of the gods in the early days, and Hermes was never actually mentioned. This can be seen in early epic poetry from the 4th century BC, such as in the Iliad. In Homer's Iliad, Iris is the only one passing messages between Zeus and once Hera to the other gods and some mortals, with Hermes being given the lesser role of guide and guardian. A clear example of this can be found in Book 24 of the Iliad, when Zeus sends Iris to tell King Priam about his merciful decision concerning Hector's dead body, and Hermes is sent to conduct the Trojan king unnoticed to Achilles' tent and nothing more. Iris is reported throughout the Iliad to do important tasks such as telling Menelaus about Helen being taken and granting Achilles' prayer to light Patroclus' funeral pyre immediately. However, only a few years after the Iliad was released, out came the Odyssey, and the role of the main messenger is given to Hermes, and Iris is never mentioned again. The life of Iris has suffered much debate over the years. Some scholars and classicists believe that she was unmarried and remained that way so as not to get distracted from her duties as a messenger for the gods or a maiden to Hera. However, it's more commonly believed, as she has connections with rainbows and rain and the ocean, that her rainbows often appeared around bodies of water because she fell in love with Zephyrius, the god of the rainy west wind, and that they got married and had one child, a son named Pothos, who was one of the Erotes, and was the personification and god of desire. He was said to be incredibly beautiful, as Iris was labelled one of the most beautiful minor goddesses, and he was said to rival even Eros, and Eros was also an Erotes. We still use the name Iris now. The word iridescent, meaning displaying colour like those in a rainbow, is derived from iris, as is the name we give to the coloured part of the eyes, and the flower, also named Iris, was sacred to her and worn by women, as it was believed that she was a companion to women in death to the underworld, alongside Hecate and Hermes. I chose to do a video on the goddess of messages and in particular rainbows at the moment because they are a symbol of good, a way to stay connected, and are a thanks to those who are key workers, and they represent hope, which is something we all need these days. And that is the goddess of rainbows. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, please like, comment or subscribe, or follow this channel's Twitter using the link in the description. I mentioned Hermes in this video, and I have done a video on him, so feel free to check that out as well as my other Greek myth videos and my other playlists. Let's keep classics alive. I will see you next time on the Mythology Manifest.